Many survivors of domestic violence take to artwork to heal from the trauma they endured. The following is a portrayal of one woman's story of what happened to her. She sincerely hopes that if you are experiencing any of these cruel and bizarre behaviors, that you will seek peace and get help. For over 3 decades, this artist was married to an intimate partner predator. Back when she was dating him and got engaged, there were scant books on domestic violence or character disordered individuals. Whenever domestic violence was mentioned, most people probably thought of a drunk in a wife-beater undershirt. But the truth is, domestic violence is way more insidious than an undershirt. Looking back is where survivors find the clues they overlooked, and some predators behave well until the marriage ceremony is over. Survivors know that healing comes with recognizing that it never had anything to do with them. Living with someone who has a seared conscience is mind-boggling, and the similarities in survivor stories need to be spoken about. These bizarre events show other victims their need to seek safety. These paintings highlight just a few of the experiences of the artist. Red flags are now spoken of in many podcasts and memes. This woman experiences her spouse walking ahead of her everywhere they travel, walking quickly. He seldom helps carry the baby belongings or push a stroller. Her husband ignores her needs and yells about her purposely walking too slowly. Jesus looks on as the marriage covenant is slowly broken in these instances. On many occasions, this woman endures horrific physical violence in the car. Cars are chased at high speeds. Their car is also chased after the abuser drives violently, and family members are put in grave danger. This is a great way for the abuser to exert coercive control. The victim cannot escape a fast-moving car. Many predators who make false claims to be Christian are known to only physically attack their victim 1 or 2 times, because that is all that is needed for the victim to know what the predator is willing and capable of doing. Many times, the victims are completely confused by the attack because there was no fight or argument before it occurred. Years later, when piecing through evidence, survivors realized their predator had multiple sex partners, and that following these attacks, the predator conveniently left town. The horror of realizing this attack is deliberate and meant to make the victim not ask questions about his absences is disgusting. In the next painting, the artist shows how the Lord gave a dream to a friend about the victim's husband. In the dream, the abuser was walking through an open field with one child held with a strong grip and the abuser yelling. The second child is unattended to and walking behind. The field is surrounded by hedges, and the hedges were filled with eyes. The dreaming friend felt the interpretation meant the abuser is going to be exposed. She asked the victim, "Is he harming the children?" The survivor of the violence continues for many years to pray for the repentance of her attacker. He is so good at switching between personalities and lying about events that she's confused. How could he teach Sunday school one moment or be praying in front of the town at the National Day of Prayer the next, and then on the way home abuse her? She waited for decades for him to change, falsely believing his lies, and that maybe he is tormented with some sort of emotional instability. It never occurs to her that it was deliberate. But the Lord protects her and her children as she prayed for a hedge of protection around them. Many domestic violence survivors are confused by the raging behavior of their predators. It occurs unpredictably to the victim. This raging is verbal abuse. Many years ago, the Gottman Institute did a study on fighting couples. They found that some of the abusive men had their blood pressure drop when they raged. What they were doing was premeditated. They were in complete control. They are not angry. They are trying to gain coercive control over their victims. In this painting of the graveside of the victim's sister, the artist displays the absolute horror of being yelled at during a soul-crushing moment. Predators look for opportunities in the victim's life to kick them when they are down. This situation allows the abuser to gain more coercive control of the victim because they are too distraught to fight back. In this case, the abuser yells that she did not deserve to be comforted at her sister's death because she was disobedient for not making his Sunday nachos in her grief. In the last portrayal of ongoing abuse the survivor endured, she paints a picture of the guest room door. The survivor moved into the guest room to stay safe from the predator. He turned up the heat at night so her room temperature would wake her up. He broke the lock once she first moved in to let her know the door would not stop him from harming her. The lock in the painting was an exterior door lock she had installed. He had forced this door open to yell at her. In a last-ditch effort to stay safe, she buys a burglar bar for the door. An advocate called her and asked, "What are you doing to stay safe?" She sent a picture of the burglar bar. If you are confused by your relationship or marriage and you want to speak to an advocate, there are many women who have escaped these predators and are working as advocates and coaches in the domestic violence awareness and recovery space. Please reach out to someone if you saw any similarities between this woman's experience and yours. You can get to safety. There are people who will help you. I was fortunate enough to have witnesses to the abuse, but often it is hidden with no visible injuries. My last slide will include links to many organizations that can help. Email me at seekingpeacecoaching@gmail.com if you need services. Thank you for watching and listening. Stay safe.